Hello, everyone. I'm Bo from Brutal Commentary, and today I'm going to be breaking down our featured prelim for UFC 324. In our featured prelim, we have easily one of the best fights on the card, as former title challenger Umar Nurmagomedov will take on former champion Deiveson Figueiredo. This is easily one of the best fights on the card for sure. I am surprised, like most people, that this was not going to be on the main card after Harrison Nunes and instead replaced with Silva versus Namajunas. I can sort of understand this because I think Rose is a much more house-known name, especially the casual fans, but it is what it is. Make no mistake, though, this is for sure one of the best fights on the card. All right, and I definitely think whoever wins this might be close to the title. If Umar wins, for sure, he's going to get the next title shot after, I think, Jan and Merab fight each other for the third time. And I think the winner should fight Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, of course, if Sean O'Malley beats Song Yadong, he'll probably get a next title shot. But that is more of a discussion for my post-fight show. But right now, this is what I'm thinking for sure. If Umar wins, he's for sure going to get the next title shot. Figgy wins, I'm not so clear on that. But this is without a doubt one of the best fights on the card. Former title challenger Umar, 19-0. His only loss is to Merab, the best bantamweight ever. No shame in that. After that fight, got a nice win over Mario Bautista at UFC 321 last October. In a fight where he kind of Merabed Umar, going for 15 takedowns in like a 15-minute fight. All right, and overall, just a better fighter overall. Meanwhile, Figgy, obviously, I think most people know the story. One of the best flyweights ever, a wrecking ball in that division, and had since then finally moved up to bantamweight, where he went on a nice 3-fight win streak, beating Rob Font, Cody Garbrandt, and Chito Vera. But since then, I think it's clear what Figgy's ceiling is at bantamweight, especially at 38. Can beat most of the top 10. Like he currently is on a win, riding a win over Montel Jackson last October. But before that, he was on a 2-fight skid, losing to Piotr Jan and Corey Sandhagen. So I feel like it's kind of clear, more or less, where Figueiredo is at this point. He is, like I said, a skilled fighter. I still think beat a good portion of the top 10, but I don't know if he can beat the top 5. But still, at the end of the day, styles make fights, right? And that's what I plan on doing, breaking down these two styles and seeing how they clash. So without further ado, let's get down to the breakdown. Starting with Umar Nurmagomedov. There we go. Umar is, I think, definitely a textbook example of elite combat sambo translated to MMA. He is built on discipline, positioning, and control. Umar's approach is very systematic. Umar closes distance with purpose, uses good feints and striking to set up his takedowns, and then maintains positional relentlessness. Once Umar's on top, he grinds, not recklessly, but patiently, scoring points and avoiding reckless exchanges. In terms of the striking, Umar is a very good kicker, very dexterous, good at throwing high kicks, pretty good at also using kick-punching combinations, and by that I mean like throwing a kick first and then throwing his punches, like how he knocked out Hani Barcelos. But now, when it comes to the grappling, obviously Umar is world class, anchored by strong wrestling entries, good chain wrestling like that Dagestani style, good top control, and a good understanding of how to move through transitions without leaving too many openings. Umar doesn't gamble for big finishes. Now, if we're talking about all of his finishes in the UFC, at least, Umar is much better with his submissions than knockout. Like I said, knocking out Hani Barcelos is no joke, but a lot of his finishes are more so via submission. And instead, Umar is very good at chaining takedowns, passing, and submission threats in a way to wear opponents down over time. And he's also, like I said, shown improvement with his striking defense and range management, making it hard to simply outstrike him. I mean, with the threat of the takedown always presented, Umar clearly outstruck Corey Sandhagen on the feet and was able to hold his own very well against one of the more technically proficient strikers in the division. And, until his cardio failed him, he won the first 2 rounds against Merab off both his wrestling and striking, simply being technically superior. And that's the key word, technically. It's just the thing about out all that, all that technique, cardio, or sorry, all that technique, finesse, and power, that goes out the window when your cardio fails. But while his cardio is there, Umar is just simply a much more polished striker and grappler than 90% of his opponents. Now, looking at Figueiredo, he is one of the most dangerous finishers we've ever seen in the lower weight classes, for sure. Very few fighters, besides like John Lineker, for an example, hit as hard as Deiveson Figueiredo, especially at flyweight and at bantamweight. Figueiredo is a very explosive and aggressive finisher. Comes forward, swings hard, and throws good punching combinations as well. Figgy mostly fights in this sort of karate-esque stance, hands by the waist, and sort of explodes in with punches. That right hand specifically is his most dangerous strike and has knocked out or dropped a lot of opponents. I mean, he's the only fighter to knock down Marlon Vera, who is one of the most durable bantamweights ever. Actually, I take it back. One of the most durable UFC fighters ever. I think what makes Figgy special is the threat factor. Even when he's not landing clean, his forward momentum causes hesitation in opponents and slows them down and forces defensive reaction, sometimes overcautious as well. Now, in terms of his grappling, I'd say also Figgy's a very good submission threat. You saw some of his other fights at like flyweight when he submitted Joseph Benavidez, submitted Alex Perez. Deiveson, good grappler, very well-rounded, and very good, well-rounded fighter. Only guy to submit Cody Garbrandt, out-wrestled Vera, out-wrestled Font. He was able to kind of hold his own more or less against Petr Yan in the grappling, although Yan proved to be technically superior. It still should be noted that Figgy had good moments. I think the only downside to Figgy's style is that it relies on momentum. Against a highly technical oriented opponent, that aggression can be neutralized. That being said, while that's Figgy's weakness, Umar has a big weakness. I find it's his cardio. You saw in the Bautista fight, he was pretty winded after 15 minutes. Now, obviously, he fought a hard 15-minute pace, and 15-minute training camp and a 25-minute training camp are different. I understand this, but like I said, after the Bautista fight, he was pretty tired, and Figgy's got pretty good cardio, especially now at bantamweight where he's not killing himself. I think definitely Figgy has some advantages here. Now, this matchup is more or less more of a system versus chaos. Figgy wants to make it wild, pressure-driven, stand-up battle where big shots and explosive bursts decides the outcome, while Umar wants the pace slow. One more time. Umar wants to slow the pace, close distance cleanly, and take the fight to the ground where he can neutralize Figueiredo's power. Looking at all their skill sets, right? Obviously, Figgy and Umar, I think they're both relatively the same. We're talking about just technical striking. Obviously, Figgy hits harder than Umar. Could knock out Umar too, to be honest with you. But when it comes to wrestling, obviously Umar is just going to be the much better grappler and the better wrestler overall. Plus, he's going to be bigger than Figueiredo for sure. And I think that might be play a key part as one of the Figueiredo's greatest strengths, at least at flyweight, was he was bigger than just about everybody he fought. Now, bantamweight, that's not the case. Now, he's still certainly bigger than some of the other bantamweights he fought, but against Umar, I don't think Figgy's going to have the same size advantage as he did against, like, say, Rob Font or Cody Garbrandt. So I do think some of the biggest advantages Umar has in this fight are going to definitely lead him to more success over time. That being, his wrestling can shut down Figgy's grappling. His ability to transition from striking to grappling are faster than Figgy, especially with Umar being in his prime at 30, while Figgy is now 38. Excuse me. And while on the feet, Umar's dexterous kicking game are going to help him greatly. Now, I say all this, and I think it's obvious who my pick is. I'm going to tell you right now, though, the odds are fucking ridiculous. I don't care how good Umar is, man. Being a minus 1,500, really? I know I don't talk about odds that much, but that's also because I'm not really a bettor. So I don't really feel the need to talk about odds, but I have to put this out there now. I said this when I was breaking down Umar versus Bautista. the odds are absolutely ridiculous because it is a fight at the end of the day and anything can happen. Plus, I'm going to be real here. I think Figueiredo has a much better shot than being a 15-1 underdog. You look at Umar's last few fights, he has been rocked and or dropped a few times. For example, Beksat Almakan dropped him with an overhand. Marab rocked him with a straight right. Bautista dropped Umar with a knee. Now, Umar has shown good recoverability and being able to immediately go to the wrestling and to start off the damage. And hell, even when he's dropped, he wins these rounds because of his dominant wrestling game. But you're going against such a ferocious puncher in Deiveson Figueiredo, and you are shown to be not the best, not have the best durability. Yeah, he might get caught. He might get knocked out. I'm just leaving that out there. Like, if if by some reason you're picking Deiveson Figueiredo, I'm going to tell you now, I can see a world where he catches Umar and possibly knocks him out. I'm just leaving it out there that, like I said, it's a fight at the end of the day, and I don't agree at all with these odds. But that does not change my pick whatsoever. I am going to pick Umar Nurmagomedov to win, and I'm going to pick him via decision. I think he's just going to be more so 15 minutes of him out wrestling Figueiredo, having the better positional grappling, and overall being ahead in the wrestling. That's the biggest factor in this. On the feet, they're pretty even. Like I said, I give slightly the advantage to Figgy because of the attributes and speed, and explosiveness and power. But the wrestling is just too much of a liability for him against just someone as good as Umar Nurmagomedov in a fighter who can transition from wrestling and grappling. So, once again, I'm going to pick Umar Nurmagomedov, and I think he's going to win a dominant decision, like 30-27. And if it's 29-28, that'd be very remarkable, I think. But I think it is a 30-27 decision. But with that being said, that's been my breakdown on this matchup. If you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win. And let me know, I'm curious, do you think these odds are appropriate or do you think they're a bit ridiculous? I'd love to hear your thoughts on those. But with that being said, I've been Bo from Brutal Commentary. And remember, stay calm, stay respectful, and enjoy the violence. I'll see y'all next time.